Good evening. 65 years ago today, something monumental happened. After 486 years under colonial rule, Ghana became the first sub-Saharan African country to obtain independence. Since then, 13 men have led the country. Some historians, lawyers, teachers, and other military heads. Tonight, in a GHOne television special, we count down the top 5 most defining presidents over the last 65 years. We based our ranking through a representative sampling of the opinions of Ghanaians, a critical evaluation of decisions, policies, and actions these leaders took, and the impact these actions have today. We also asked you on social media who you think should be on our list. My name is John Blankson, and on behalf of the entire GHOne Newsroom team, I'd like to welcome you to a special Independence Day event. Without further ado, here's number 5.
Number 5 is President Mahama. Born John Dramani Mahama, he first stepped on the national stage in 1997 as a Member of Parliament for the Bole-Bamboy constituency. That same year, the then Honourable Member of Parliament was appointed Deputy Minister for Communications. He later became the Minister for Communications in 1998, a position he held until 2001. Mahama subsequently retained his seat in the 2000 and 2004 elections, serving as a parliamentary spokesman for communications from 2001 to 2004. As Member of Parliament, Mahama was part of the Standing Orders Committee, Transportations, Energy, Communications, Science and Technology Committees of Parliament. In 2008, late President John Atta Mills selected the then Member of Parliament as his running mate during the November 2008 elections. Mills won the election as he and Mahama were inaugurated on January 7, 2009. The death of late President Mills in July of 2012 as sitting president elevated Mr. Mahama to the presidency. That same year in November, Mahama ran for president, becoming the second vice president to run for the office and win. As president, Mahama implemented select policies that advanced the interest of Ghanaians. Arguably, his most profound achievement was the spike in beneficiaries of Ghana's school feeding program. By 2014, the initiative had over 1.5 million beneficiaries, a 26% jump from the 430,000 beneficiaries in 2018. He also increased student loan rates from tertiary students across the country, the lowest rate from 750 to 1,000 Ghana cedis, and the highest rate from 1,600 to 2,000 Ghana cedis. Despite tangible achievements, the former president had more than a few missteps during his administration. Power outage issues during the Mahama presidency reached unprecedented heights to the point the phenomenon derived its own name among Ghanaians, Dumso, which literally translates as on and off. At the height of Dumso in 2015, Ghanaians would go 24 hours without power, followed by 12 with power. It was reported that Ghana's power generating capacity, which was 400 to 600 megawatts at the time, was below the country's needs. The widespread effect sparked protests across the country, prompting the widely popular hashtag #DumsoMustStop. Activists and singers joined thousands of Ghanaians in one of the country's biggest protests. The phenomenon rose again in 2019 with random power outages that did not follow a schedule. The costly economic and social catastrophe caused the collapse of businesses throughout the country with millions of damaged home appliances. According to the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Ghana lost about $1 billion in 2014 due to its power outage issues. Independent media outlets, both home and abroad, reported billions of dollars in revenue loss. The steepness of the phenomenon also cost lives, as it was alleged that a 76-year-old woman was burned to death in Komenda in the central region. A trigger in the power cables after a day of no power caused a fire outbreak when the lights turned on. Hospitals throughout the country operated without light. In some delivery and operating rooms, doctors and nurses relied on flashlights to provide care to patients. At the Kaneshi Polyclinic, a nurse was forced to rely on a flashlight to deliver babies. At the Nsawam Government Hospital, A reported 3 babies died as a result of power outage required to provide care at the intensive care unit. Mahama's detractors charged that his mismanagement of Ghana's energy crisis played a bigger role than acknowledged in his re-election loss. In spite of the pitfalls, President Mahama's infrastructure-focused governance helped establish some long-term gains for Ghana.
Tweet us at GHOne TV with the hashtag GHOne Top 5. Don't forget to mention me in your tweet at @TheJohnBlankson. Okay, our next leader was one of a fierce advocate for change, running on a campaign slogan, "A better man for a better Ghana." He proved that significant progress can be achieved regardless of time. In a short-lived presidency, he won the hearts and minds of Ghanaians with effective policies that had lasting impact. Viewers at home, here is number 4.
Number 4 is late President John Evans Atta Mills. Prior to his tenure in elected office, President Mills spent close to a quarter century as a faculty member at the University of Ghana, Legon. In 1996, during the PNDC and NDC separation, late President Rawlings selected then Professor Mills as his running mate for the 1996 presidential election. The duo won the election, thrusting Mr. Mills on the national stage as vice president. During his tenure, he chaired the Police Council of Ghana and the Rawlings Administration Economic Management Team. Mills first ran for president in 2000 and ran again in 2004. He lost both bids until his third run in 2008. After a successful presidential campaign, he became the third president of Ghana's Fourth Republic. Under the discovery by President Kufuor, President Mills was Ghana's first head of state to oversee the production of oil in commercial quantities in Ghana. Inflation dropped to 8.4%, an unprecedented low from 18.1% when he took office in January 2009. The first half of 2012 reported Ghana as the fastest growing economy in the world, a staggering 20.15% per the International Monetary Fund. In 2010, the single-spine salary structure system was implemented by the Mills administration. The initiative, which increased compensation for all public workers, regulated the payment of public service workers, particularly those under Article 190 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. On the campaign trail, Mills positioned himself as a president who will implement robust economic policies that will improve the economy.
Ghana will be able to move forward in leaps and bounds, and Ghana will continue to be a beacon to the rest of Africa.
In a presidency that was short-lived, President Mills managed to leave an impressive legacy that continues to shape Ghana for the better. In 2012, a series of publicized medical checkups, both home and abroad, sparked publicized speculations over Mills's health.
I have just arrived from the US, where I undertook a regular medical checkup. Thank God, everything is okay.
On July 24, 2012, news of his passing sent shockwaves across the globe. Though a moderately successful presidency, Mills fell short in the execution of some decisions he made. The introduction of the one-time premium for the National Health Insurance Scheme collapsed the entire program due to capitation. Funding became a major issue to keep the program running. Despite his shortcomings, his short term in office lay significant groundwork for his successor, President John Mahama. In one of his famous quotes, he said, "As a people, our greatest achievements have come when we have lived up to the ideals that unite rather than divide us." In a defining presidency that has several success stories, he led
Our top 3 led the country during pivotal times in history. Besides their selflessness, groundbreaking vision, they spearheaded revolutionary changes that contributed to make a difference. unprecedented ideas became resounding success stories. Number 3 on our list is the gentle giant himself.
He is the first Ghanaian leader to chair the African Union and a former minister from the Busia administration. President John Ashikunkofo's tenure on the national stage dates back to Ghana's Second Republic in the 1960s. He first served as a Member of Parliament for Atrimwa and Mwabiaja constituency from 1969 to 1972. He was also the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs from 1969 to 1971. In the early 2000s, President Kufuor made a triumphant return to the national stage after winning his presidential election. His most signature accomplishment is Ghana's National Health Insurance Scheme. Over 12 million Ghanaians benefit from the initiative. He also launched the Microfinance and Small Loans Program that disbursed $50 million in loans available to small businesses across the country. This initiative boosted small businesses and elevated the middle class. Under his administration, expectant mothers received free maternal health care.
With all of them, Kufuor stood up because it's about performance. And the figures are there, trust me. He implemented FT, compulsory universal basic education. And you know we are a developing economy. And for any economy to do well, it's about education, because performance is a function of one ability. Ability comes as a result of acquisition of knowledge. In fact, he introduced a lot of new paradigm shift, sanity into our system. Not that everything he did was right. I can't say he was perfect. But people know. Even now, some opposition members say a lot of good things about him. And that's why they were calling him gentle giant. He has been comporting himself so much well, even after his office. So I think I give him thumbs up.
Despite his successes, Mr. Kufuor developed a reputation as the foreign presidency. His hands-on approach to foreign policy saw him log more foreign trips than any president before him. Experts are divided on the benefit of these trips. His cabinet reshuffling raised questions of an administration in trouble. Despite his missteps, he bolstered Ghana's reputation abroad and brokered relationships with other countries. It's why the gentle giant is number 3 on our list.
Now, we're more than halfway through the list, and so far, every president is named John. My name is John as well. Who knows? Maybe this could be a sign. The next leader on our list pioneered African nationalism. His tactical leadership in liberating us from colonial rule inspired other countries on the continent. The year 1960 was dubbed the Year of Africa. 17 countries, yep, you heard that right, 17 countries followed in the footsteps of Ghana in gaining independence. In a historic celebration that was attended by U.S. civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and then U.S. Vice President Richard Nixon, he made Ghana's newfound independence loud and firm. He's a man whose legacy extends beyond Africa. Hundreds of books and scholarly articles have been written about him. A Lenin Peace Prize recipient and a founding member of the Organization of African Union, now the African Union. Number 2 on our list is one of the greatest world leaders in history.
Closing in at number 2 is one of the world's greatest leaders for the 20th century, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Hailed as the godfather of African nationalism, Ghana's first Prime Minister and first President had an extraordinary tenure on the national stage. By the late 1940s, the British Empire was waning. Britain's economy had collapsed and was in debt to the United States, which had expressed opposition to European colonialism. The formation of the new United Nations and its adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights were all growing signs that kept weakening the prevalence of colonialism. The simultaneous occurrences of these events prompted the British openness to decolonization. Dr. Nkrumah formed the Convention People's Party in 1949 with a campaign slogan, "Self-Government Now." The CPP received widespread support through its message of political independence. Nkrumah's growth posed unfavourably to the then Gold Coast governor, James Creasy. With the backing of his British counterparts, Creasy outcasted him as a thoroughgoing communist. He was sentenced to prison for 3 years for his nonconformism. He grew increasingly popular while in prison and contested for the 1951 elections. On February 8, 1951, the CPP won 34 of 38 seats. The then Prime Minister-elect was freed from prison by British Governor Charles Arden Clarke on February 9 and assumed leadership of government that same day. Over the next 6 years, Dr. Nkrumah and Governor Clarke worked together in laying out strategies that led to Ghana's independence in 1957. In his own words, imperialism knows no law beyond its own interests. He understood that our advancement as a nation required independence from colonial rule, and in an unparalleled legacy, he more than proved that. Critics charged at Nkrumah for failed policies that impeded growth. His outlawing of an opposition movement was perceived to be a plot to dictatorship. In 1958, he passed the Prevention Detention Act, which prompted the harsh treatment of political opponents. The law allowed incarceration of up to 5 years without a charge or trial. He was the only person who could call for early release. Despite a rocky ending in exile, his legacy as one of the world's greatest leaders remains untouched. After 65 years, his declaration still holds. Ghana is free forever indeed.
At long last, the battle has ended. Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world.
One of my favorite quotes of the late President Nkrumah says, and I quote, "Action without thought is empty, and thought without action is blind." In his extraordinary service to Ghana, he more than proved it. Now, to number one on our list, one of the most recognizable African leaders in history. Cycle after cycle, Ghanaians have experienced a peaceful transfer of power after election. It is a testament to his enduring legacy. He is the godfather of Ghana's democracy and laid the groundwork that stabilized the political system, making Ghana a bastion of African democracy. Policy execution and governance is futile when a stable democracy is missing. It is an honor to introduce to you GHOne TV's most defining Ghanaian president. Viewers at home, revel in the glory.
Number 1 is late President Jerry John Rawlings. Ghana's post-independence came with its fair share of challenges. Then came Mr. Rawlings. He led Ghana's first coup in overthrowing General Fred Akufo on June 4, 1979. In his view, General Akufo-Addo's regime did not improve the livelihood of Ghanaians. He also overthrew President Hila Liman on December 31, 1981. Despite leading 2 coups, Rawlings remains one of Africa's enigmatic leaders of all time. 19 years in power posed a turning point for Ghana's economy and democracy. Rawlings' most defining legacy, however, is the birth of Ghana's Fourth Republic. A referendum on Ghana's constitution paved the way for a multi-party system and separation of powers between the executive and legislative branches of government. He formed the National Democratic Congress to contest for the 1992 elections and won decisively. He resigned from the military that same year and became the first president of Ghana's Fourth Republic. His reputation in instituting Ghana's transition from authoritarianism to a multi-party system has become the template for Ghana and other democracies across Africa.
So, what do we learn today? I'll tell you what I learned. Even the most profound leaders are flawed. Perfection is a myth. Power is a good thing when it's in the hands of the right people. I also learned that when we lead with heart, we make a difference in our own little way. I hope this broadcast has inspired you to lead, and it has been a joy to come to your homes and spend this special day with you. I'd like to thank you for watching. I am John Blankson, and on behalf of the entire GHOne team, happy Independence Day.